friends. My name is Susan, and I appreciate you stopping by. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about our riverboat cruise that my husband and I took along with my friend Brenda and her husband in the middle of October. And I'm going to try to talk fast because there's a lot to say. And I've got a lot of pictures and videos to follow what I'm saying. But we did cruise on American Cruise Line. We did the lower Mississippi. We left out of Memphis and ended up in New Orleans. I think we had 7 ports that we stopped at. Some ports we stayed just for the day and then sailed. We didn't sail, went down the river at night. And then others, I think we stayed like a day and a half. And we had a wonderful time. The Mississippi River is the most fascinating thing. I was just so fascinated by it. It is the workhorse of America. But unfortunately, the river level is very low right now. It was 30 to 40 feet low. So it did cause some problems of going into port, and they had to make some changes as far as where the ship could dock. When we went into Vicksburg, which was our first stop, the Corps of Engineers had to dredge so that we could get in there. And even at that, we couldn't dock at downtown Vicksburg. We had to dock out a ways and take a bus into Vicksburg to see the big old downtown Vicksburg, which wasn't much. But anyway, we did go to the battlefield in Vicksburg as well. But anyway, that did cause some issues. I had so much fun watching the tugboats go up and down the river, pushing these long barges, probably 3 or 4 barges wide, 6 to 8 barges long, huge tugboats just chugging that product or goods up and down the Mississippi River. But the river level did cause them problems as well. And when we got down to Baton Rouge, where the refineries were working, the container ships that take the refined oil to wherever they take them, they couldn't even load the oil. They had to park kind of at dock or anchor, I guess is the word, out in the river because they couldn't even get into the dock. Because if they put that product on the ship would, of course, the level would go down the ship and it would drag the bottom. It was really low. When we went into Vicksburg, they said it was so low you could probably walk across the Mississippi. So that was surprising because I didn't know. I had heard the river was low, but I didn't know how low, and I didn't really understand it. And the Mississippi River is really wide in places and really narrow and twisty and turny. And I think I was shocked at all along the side of the river, you're mostly trees. Unless you were getting near a city like Vicksburg or Natchez or whatever, you would start to see some houses. But basically, it's all woods, all up and down the river. And you would pass different industry that was right on the river, like granary, a refinery, that sort of thing. There was a fertilizer plant somewhere, something that along the river where barges could come up. But basically, it was just nothing but trees up and down the river. Like I say, we went on the American Cruise Line. Our cabin was on the 3rd deck. There are 4 decks, and the ship is made on a barge. It did look like a riverboat. It had a paddle in the back. It was just for looks, but it did spin. But because we were in the back of the ship, it was noisy at night when the ship was underway. A lot of vibration. I don't know where the engine is on the riverboat, but back there, you could feel the closet door vibrate and the bathroom door and the vent where the air conditioner. So that was kind of hard to get used to because I didn't know. But you were so tired after the 2nd day, you went right to sleep and paid no attention to that. Now, the food was wonderful. 3 meals. You could go to the dining room for all 3, or for lunch and breakfast. You could eat up on the 4th deck if you like. I said the food was very good. Now, it may not be seasoned as strongly Cajun seasoned as you like, although they did serve meals that were, I lost the word. Anyway, connected to the area like Cajun. But they were not seasoned really strong, I guess because they cooked for so many people. The age group of the people was probably the majority, 60s, 70s, 80s. There were some younger people, there were a lot of families, like a husband and a wife that brought along their adult children with them. There were two twin sisters that were on there celebrating their 90th birthday, but I did not feel out of place. No children, like I said. The entertainment was not the caliber of a cruise ship. The best entertainment you have is when the ship is docked in a city and going to be there either late at night or leave during the night, because then they get local entertainment to come in, and they're pretty good. But they don't have the facilities on that ship to carry entertainers with them, so they have to rely on being in port and using local entertainers. And I think it was the last night, we had fabulous, these three girls, they sang, they were really good. They put on a good show. So if you didn't want to see the entertainment, then we went up to the fourth deck, sat out there at night, watched the stars and the moon, and had our drinks, and we just enjoyed doing that. And of course, by the end of the day, you're so tired. The ship does include, the cruise does include a lot of excursions, but it also provides extra excursions that you can pay for. And one of the extra ones we did was the Cajun Swamp ride, where we were looking for some gators. And I think that was $50 a person. And there were a few others, but most of them, the excursions in the town or the battlefield or to museums, plantations, they were all included in the ship, in the cruise. So the only thing you had to do was tip the bus driver and your tour guide, because they did not work for the cruise line. But when we got to New Orleans, we stayed an extra 2 days. And so when we got off the ship, they made arrangements for people that were getting off the ship, needed to go to the airport. They would take them to the airport. If they wanted to do a city bus tour, they could do that and then go to the airport, or the bus tour and go to the hotel, the Intercontinental, which is where we stayed for 2 nights, which was a lovely hotel. It's right on the edge of the French Quarter. And we did do the bus tour of the city, kind of got a lay of the land where things were. We really enjoyed our time in New Orleans. We rode the trolley. We went to the Garden District, which was absolutely one of my favorite places. The homes are gorgeous. We crammed as much as we could in 2 days. And then we got on the plane and came home, and was I ever tired when I got home. And I wanted to see my boaty boy, and he was waiting for me because my sister picked him up from the doggy hotel and had him waiting for us. So we had a wonderful time. I hope that you all would think about doing it. I'm very glad that we did it. Someone asked me, did I want to do it again? No, I don't think I want to do it again. There's too many other places to go, but it is a good experience. But, just remember, it's a small ship. You're not going to get the amenities that you get on a big ocean ship. But they do treat you really well, and the food is really good. And anything you need, they're there for it. And the hotel manager is standing out there all day long. Wherever you go, he's waiting for you to come back and greeting you. The drinks were abundant. Sometimes my husband complained the beer wasn't as cold, but he reported it to the hotel manager, and from that point on, that beer was cold. So I think this, the ship made great adjustments considering what was going on with the water levels on the Mississippi. So I'm going to let you watch the pictures I inserted in the videos, and I hope you enjoy them, and I hope it'll encourage you to go see our mighty Mississippi, because it is definitely one of the great natural resources of our country. So until next time, which will be a Christmas video, you take care. Bye. Our first night we spent in Memphis, and we stayed at the Grand Hotel of the South, known as the Peabody. It is famous for its ducks that stay in the fountain all day. They come down from their rooftop condo at 11 and they go back up at 5. They have a duck master that puts on a big show when the ducks come down and they go up, and he gives you the history of all the ducks. I've included a little bit on the video so that you could see what goes on. But it is a magnificent hotel, and I could have spent days there. It's full of history and memorabilia. Everything at the Peabody has the duck logo. Our drinks had rubber ducks in them. The rooms had duck-shaped soap, and it's where Elvis Presley signed his first contract with Sun Records.
The tradition of the ducks, all that remains is to play that John Philip Sousa, King Cotton March, and march our five-feathered friends single file of the red carpet into the elevator en route to their palace on the rooftop. When the elevator door closes again in just a few moments, you too will have been eyewitness to the world-famous march of the Peabody Ducks. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and your attention, please. Welcome to the historic Peabody Hotel. At the center of the Grand Lobby, the point where the Mississippi Delta has been set to begin, stands the classic Peabody fountain, carved from one piece of Italian travertine marble. Although famous in its own right, the fountain is better known the world over because of its residents. If I may direct your attention to the fountain now, you will witness a tradition begun in the 1930s at the South Grand Hotel. An experience uniquely yours as a guest of the Peabody. Preparing to return to their penthouse on the roof for the night, ladies and gentlemen, the march of the world-famous Peabody Ducks.
As you can see, quite a crowd gathers for the March of the Ducks. They come down at 11 in the morning and back up at 5. Here's a peek into one of the 3 grand ballrooms. There's one up on the roof that we were not able to see. I think it was being renovated, but this one was pretty grand. Peabody is full of history. Presidents have stayed there, movie legends, actors, actresses. It's just so much to see. Here is a peek at our room. It was not that luxurious, but it was nice considering the rest of the hotel was beautiful. Our ship is the American Cruise Splendor. Here's a peek into our room, which was actually much larger than I thought it would be. We had a king-size bed, a TV, a dresser, and a closet that we can put our clothes in. We're still at port when I filmed this. And I'll give you a peek into the bathroom, which was actually a lot more roomier than I anticipated. We are on the third deck of the ship, to the very rear of the ship. Our first stop was Vicksburg in Mississippi. We visited the downtown area. The next day we visited the battlefield in Vicksburg. It was one of the deciding battles of the Civil War. It was a very somber experience where each state who participated in that battle erected monuments. We then went to the USS Cairo Museum, which was an ironclad ship that sank off the coast of Mississippi, on the coast of Mississippi River, and it was recovered in the 1960s. Here's another picture of our ship as we are entering Natchez. The first mansion we visited was Rosalie. It was built on the site of an old fort. As you can see from these pictures, the church is absolutely gorgeous. Most of the plantations and mansions we went into did not allow photographs on the inside, but this was a beautiful plantation and it was considered a city house. The Myrtles plantation is known to be very haunted. I inserted some pictures of the ghost that's been spotted, and even National Geographic has been there to investigate this theory. were allowed to take pictures inside the myrtles, but it was kind of hard with all the people standing around the rooms, but I did the best I could. I've inserted these pictures that were taken of ghost sightings. If you look closely, I've circled them in red. You can see the outlines of the figures. Next, we went to a barbecue, a Cajun barbecue at that.
It's a big leg over mom. Speeding by and come back round.
A roasted baby pig is known as a cochon latte, and he was delicious. St. Francisville is such a quaint little town with gorgeous little houses. It's also the area where there are 8 other plantations besides the myrtles. Now back on the boat, and we're headed to Baton Rouge. This was a great museum, and it had a ballot box that showed there was even corruption back in the day. This swamp adventure was really cool. It was all foggy that day down in the bayou, and we saw lots of gators.
We had some sun yesterday. What's this? And you're going to get a bunch of them on the bank too. They're not holding the water. Some of them go up on the bank and all. The last two I did yesterday, we had a couple of one big one crawling up in the woods and all. And if he was there, where's he going? I said, come on, Bob. How about you first? I know. We're going to go look for the pig. That mama pig I saw day before yesterday. She was up here in the bank, laying on the bank. Over here. And then what about the pig the other day? I said, boy, there's a ham and cheese pork chop, baby back rib, pork chop, ham and cheese. And the dude blurts out, well, hamburger comes off of them too. I said, no, bro, hamburger's a cow. That's beef, that's a cow. This is a pig we're looking at. Yeah, see what the people hollering out? I said, bro, look at your teeth. Boy, and I could see him look, oh, he's right.
No, sirree, we are not bringing that gator home. The next stop was the Homus plantation. It had the most magnificent gardens. This home is owned by a 52-year-old single gentleman who bought the house for $3 million and spent a fortune for the contents. We were not able to go into the inside because we ran out of time, which I was very disappointed. This plantation has had many movies filmed here. Most famous probably is Betty Davis in Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. Check out the size of this branch from a live oak tree. These trees are hundreds of years old. The last plantation we visited was Oak Alley. It is famous also for movies that were filmed there as well as TV shows. It still is a working plantation that continues to raise sugarcane. Hello, New Orleans, and a visit to the French Quarter, where our hotel was only a block away. A very interesting place, to say the least. We visited several cemeteries where the crypts, of course, are above ground and multiple bodies are buried in the crypts. And as more bodies are added, they take the other bodies and push the bones to the back of the crypt, so there's room for the new members of the crypt. We jumped on the trolley, which only cost 40 cents each way, and rode up and down St. Charles Street, where Mardi Gras goes, and visited all the beautiful homes in the Garden District. These homes were so lovely and so well taken care of. Another cemetery to visit. This house with all the Halloween decorations had over 100 skeletons, and if you can read the names on each skeleton, they're parodies of different people's names and different places. Somebody had a great imagination. Another beautiful cathedral with a lot of history. I hope you enjoyed seeing bits of our trip, but we sure were glad to get home and see our boaty boy.